So last time I was at Havasupai, I decided to check out the Confluence. When I got back, I thought I'd put together a trail guide for how to get down there and what to expect. I mean, how complicated can it be?
Now, I'm not going to go into everything about Havasupai itself. There's just way too much information. I'll put some links in the description that you can check out. There's a whole other story to getting permits to getting down here and the hike. So just go check those out. They're very helpful. That said, let's get into the hike itself. So here are my stats from the hike. This is one way coming back from the Confluence. We're going to just assume that you're starting at the campsite, and the first obstacle you're going to encounter is Mooney Falls. Now, Mooney Falls is a 200-foot waterfall that marks the end of the campgrounds. In order to get to the bottom of Mooney, you have to take a steep and exposed path down the cliff face. Now, here's a picture of that cliff face, and for a little perspective, these are all people. So if that makes you nervous, yeah, this might not be the hike for you. So the path starts innocent enough, but quickly becomes pretty exposed on one side. There's a couple of caves to climb down through, but if you're okay with heights, it's actually a pretty fun climb. And at the bottom, it gets extremely steep, requiring chains to hold on to, ladders to climb down. Now, a couple of tips at this section. It's a good idea to have canyoneering or work gloves because everything towards the bottom after the last tunnel is slick from spray from Mooney Falls. The ladders are there, they're maintained by the tribe. Some of them are secured and some of them aren't. So take a moment to study what you're trusting your life to and just make sure that you've got at least 3 points of contact and that what you're in contact with is secure. Once you get to the base, check out Mooney, enjoy it. If you left early, you might be lucky enough to have it to yourself. It's a pretty awe-inspiring waterfall, and to be there at the base, it's awesome. So enjoy the spot, and once you're ready to move on, your next goal is going to be Beaver Falls. So it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. Just left Mooney Falls, had it all to myself. Great lighting from morning sun for filming and pictures. Heading on to Beaver. Hopefully it's empty. It's the only way to really get good shots without a whole bunch of people in them. And then on to the Confluence. Wish me luck. So Beaver Falls is about 3 miles from Mooney. The hike is fairly straightforward. There's several paths in different places. They'll branch off, but they all end up at the same spot. So whatever you take, you're probably going to be all right. Most of the time, it's pretty obvious which way to go. Basically, if you can see the creek and the water's running the right direction, you're not lost. You're fine. Now, during this 3-mile hike, there's a couple of creek crossings, nothing too deep. You get to pick the spot where you cross. If you get in to your waist, you probably picked the wrong spot. Look for more shallow areas, unless it's summer and you don't mind swimming. I was there in November, so I wasn't really excited to get completely wet, so I didn't get in anything over my knees. Now, the closer you get to Beaver Falls, the path starts to climb up on the canyon right when you're looking down canyon. Some of these climbs have ladders and are fairly steep, but if you didn't have trouble with Mooney Falls, you shouldn't have any problems here. And after about 3 miles, you'll see Beaver Falls below you to canyon left, looking down canyon. You have to climb down from the main trail to Beaver, but it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you left early in the morning. You might have the chance to have it to yourself. So again, stop and just appreciate the awesomeness of the place. Now from Beaver Falls, you have about another 5 miles to go to the Confluence. And this is where things get interesting. So the trail comes in high above Beaver Falls, as you can see in the video and I've said before. So instead of going down to your left facing down canyon where it goes to Beaver Falls, you want to look for a trail continuing up and hugging the right side of the canyon. Now I should preface what I'm about to say. I'm actually fairly comfortable with what some people might think is sketchy. So with that perspective,
I thought the trail here was sketchy as
You're high above the canyon floor, the trail's narrow, it's loose rock, it's completely exposed to your left. There really isn't much video because I packed away all my gear and kind of focused on not dying. I figured that was pretty important. And yeah, just go slow, be careful, and stop to make sure you haven't gone off trail. I got off trail at one point and I don't know what I did, but it was more rock climbing to get back to the trail than it was hiking. It was completely uncomfortable, so take your time, be slow, watch for cairns, watch for footprints, and make sure that you're going the right way. It's bad enough if you're on the trail. If you get to any point where you're contemplating if you should go on or not, just remember that you have to climb back up all of this on your way back. So the good news is it's pretty short, and soon the trail goes back down to the creek and you're on a level surface. Here's a video I made when I was down there that shows the trail where it drops into the creek, because it's a little difficult to find, and I heard people walk past it and missed it on their way out. So right past Beaver, there's a spot you have to go up and over the rocks. It's not very apparent. There's people right up there. It kind of goes like this, over and down. Now, really easy to miss. I marked it on my GPS. I suggest you do the same when you come down. Otherwise, it's easy to walk right past it. Now, the point of all this climb is to bypass a spot at the base of Beaver Falls where the canyon slots up. I've heard from other people that you can actually wade through this part and skip the sketchy high trail entirely. They said the water was about waist deep, maybe a little bit shallower, but the current was very strong. However, I haven't personally done this, so I can't confirm it, but it did look like a viable option when I was there. When I was up at the top, I could see a trail on the bank down below past the narrow part. So you might consider that as an alternative, but I would check in with somebody who's actually done it. Whatever path you choose, I'm going to assume you lived. So once you're back at the creek, you have about 5 miles to walk to get to the confluence. The trail's pretty straightforward for the first 4 miles or so. It's a really beautiful canyon where you're walking along the creek. You go back and forth, maybe 4 or 5 creek crossings, but everything's clearly marked and it's pretty easy hiking. None of the water got past my knees on this part. So on the stream crossings, after you get past Beaver Falls, word of warning, watch your step, go slow. The water is strong down here. I don't know why it gets so much stronger, but the current, it'll sweep your feet right out from under you. So take your time, keep your feet close to the ground and planted. Now, after about 4 miles past Beaver Falls, the trail gets a lot more rocky and difficult to follow. This is where I got confused heading to the confluence and even on my way back. Now, I was lucky enough to meet with some whitewater rafters who were hiking back down canyon to their rafts at the Colorado, and in most parts I could just follow them. So you obviously might not have this luck, so keep your eyes open for cairns in the trail. Now, even though it does have spots where the trail disappears and you're scrambling over rocks, they aren't far stretches, so you should almost always be able to see the trail somewhere ahead of you, so just stop, look around, take your time. You'll eventually come to this tunnel. There's a little down climb at the end of it, but nothing major. If you made it here, you won't think twice. And this marks the last stretch of the hike. Short walk after this, and you'll come to the narrow section of the confluence, which it's well known for. As you can see, the area is just beautiful, and it's definitely well worth the trip. So when you reach the narrows, you can swim through them to the Colorado, or you can take a high trail to the left side looking down canyon, which is what I did. Now, I've heard people miss this trail because it's not really well marked, but hey, if you made it at this point in the video, you won't have that problem. Kind of pictured this being a slot canyon for a lot of the way. The slot canyon is actually right over here. Really short section, and you go up and over behind me. Slot canyon's over there, so you miss it completely. You can go down to where they're rafting and look at it, look up into it, but immediately gets deep unless you want to go swimming. If you want to go swimming, it might be fun. It's November right now. Not excited about swimming. But then again, depending on when you're there, swim may feel great after you've hiked this far. Whichever path you choose, you'll probably encounter rafting tours. The confluence is a popular stop, which made it difficult to get any pictures without rafts in them, but hey, that's okay. Like I said, they helped me out with my wayfinding, so it's all good. So now you've made it to the confluence, hang out, check out the Colorado River, realize you're down at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. You've walked a long way, you check out the mix of brown and blue water. It's just really awesome, as well as the section of the Narrows. Eat lunch, take pictures, video, and just enjoy the scenery. I mean, you've earned it. So overall, it took me about 4 hours from Mooney Falls to get down to the confluence. stopping for photos and video. I'm hoping to get back a little bit quicker. Didn't pay attention to the distance. I know that from Mooney to Beaver Falls it's 3 miles. I'll put the stats right here. Yeah, so that's how far it is. Anyway, got to get back, leave early. Need enough time to get down and get back before it gets dark. Bring a headlamp anyway, just to be safe, but I don't know. Might be exciting to climb Mooney in the dark. Probably not. Well, that's it for the Confluence hike. I hope you found this video helpful, and if it's on your bucket list, stop waiting and start planning. It's an absolutely amazing place. Go out and make it happen. So I'm sitting at the confluence of Havasu Creek and the Colorado River, waiting for the rafters to take off so they're not in my shot. They're in my shot. Man, these guys gotta leave already.